All right, folks. How we doing? We're still surviving after lunch? Yes. All right. Shout out to everyone who stayed after lunch. These are like the serious people. So thank you all. Thank you. My name is Jarrod Barnes. I am head of ecosystem at Near Protocol. Really what that means is I work with our founders to help them grow and scale their projects. I take it as a privilege to work with people who are building the future of the internet, one of whom is sitting right next to me. Very excited to introduce here in a moment. But want to spend the next 15 minutes echoing everything that was just shared in the previous panel, but really driving at not only where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going in the future of retail, but how do we actually think about leveraging blockchain to demonstrate meaningful ROI for brands and move away from just experimental budgets into a meaningful competitive advantage. So I'm gonna ground us in some data, but before we get to that, Vivien Zhang, thank you, shout out to Vivien.
Thank you for having me.
Want you to tell us a little bit about your journey. Bring us back, it's 2022. You have this incredible background in fashion, high-end jewelry, having been at Tiffany & Co., Marley, New York, Harry Winston, just incredible. Why go start a company in this space? Why start Solaire? And tell us a little bit about Solaire as well.
Sure. Well, hi everyone. My name is Vivien. I'm the founder and CEO of Solaire, and we're proudly building on Near. Like Jerry said earlier, prior to building Solaire, I spent about 10 years in the real world commerce in luxury fashion at companies such as Tiffany & Co. and Harry Winston in merchandising and marketing capacity. So with that, I learned firsthand a lot of the pain points that brands and consumers are experiencing around retail. And personally, when I started my career 10 years ago, it was the beginning of Web 2. Like we all know, retail is a little slow to jump on new technologies. So no one at the time expect what social media, social commerce would do to retail. And now if you look at any brands or any retailer's marketing strategy, social commerce, social media is an integral part of that. So that led me to this project, Solaire, where I am witnessing a similar trend, this time driven by blockchain. So this time I want to be at the forefront of it and not miss the boat again. So I quit my job about a year ago to start Solaire, and we can dive into more of what Solaire does in a minute.
Amazing. And it's always like such a humbling experience when you hear stories like, I quit my job to go build a company. Just want to give a shout out to all the founders and builders in the room. It is not easy. It is so incredibly hard. Yes, we can clap. It is okay to clap. Thank you, folks. It is so incredibly hard to be a founder in this space. And just to help frame our conversation, I want to ground us in some data, both from the macro perspective and what's actually happening on chain right now. And so just to ground us in some data here, sometimes the primary data source for crypto is Twitter. So just to bring us up a level a bit, when it comes to commerce, right now, 10% of all e-commerce in the US happens on Shopify. In their most recent investor report, they made a very bold statement. They own 10% of the market. On Black Friday alone, they processed about 10 billion in transaction volume. Stripe processed just over 18 billion in transaction volume for Black Friday and does just over 1% of the global GDP. And that's actually with a 70% cart abandonment rate in all of retail, which is wild to think about. But when we really bring it back and think about the opportunity, we know 44% of our nation's GDP is through SMBs. And a big, big piece of that pie is the resale market, and specifically secondhand marketplaces, which, for those who don't know, market size is about 100 billion for resale, which, Vivien, brings me back to you. In the origin of Solaire, as you were thinking about different opportunities and kind of scoping the landscape, where is it that blockchain actually has a meaningful impact? You found this opportunity in resale. Can you tell us a little bit about it? What led you to that market and just where you've started to see pockets of opportunity?
Absolutely. So let me start by some of the real pain points that I lived when I was at Tiffany. For example, as any retail companies, you are selling a product left and right. You design it, you manufacture it, and then you sell it. The problem is once the product left your store, you have no idea where it went, particularly in the jewelry category because there is no shelf life. When I was at Tiffany, our products were sold 2 years ago, mysteriously appeared at Sotheby's Marketplace auction house, and then it was sold 3 times or 4 times the price to an unknown or mystery customer. All of that data is super valuable to Tiffany or to any retail brands. As a former merchant, I spend a good chunk of my time studying the market trends, studying pricing. Typically, when you're doing pricing for any retail brands or any brands, it's about either cost plus or competitive pricing. But what the resale market is willing to pay is the true customer demand. So when you know what the demand is, that will really give you valuable insight on how to price your product, how many to produce, are you overproducing it, and what is the customers are actually looking for. So having access into the resale market data is really valuable to the brands. Second of all, a lot of brands only make money once when they sold the product for the first time. What if you can start making recurring revenue from resale every time when a product is sold? That gives you a secondary revenue income without you having to do anything. It also promotes circularity, sustainability, encouraging brands to make products that last longer, that can be enjoyed by many more customers. So those are all the benefits that brands can capture from having blockchain. And what they have to do is to essentially assign a digital ID or have a digital tag to a physical product so that they can start tracking them on individual level well after the product is sold. On a consumer perspective, I'm sure we've all either sold or bought things in the secondary market. Right now, the process can be pretty painful. You have to rely solely on a secondary marketplace to authenticate your product. Their opinion of your product, of the authenticity of your product, is everything. So, and in return, you not only don't have the freedom or the power or the ownership to the authenticity of your product, you're at their mercy to price your product, you're at their mercy to sell your product to someone, and there's no consistency. Meaning, I've actually experienced that firsthand when I bought something from a well-known marketplace, and then I tried to sell it back to the same marketplace, they told me my product is not real. But it's the same exact product I bought from them. So with that, blockchain technology or technology in general gives that consistency that human error will not be able to satisfy. So from both ends, both on the demand side and on the supply side, both parties wins. And that's why we built Solaire. And I also wanted to capture one last point is meeting consumers where they are. Typically, marketplace is a destination where customers know they're looking for something or they're wanting to buy something. But a lot of the product discovery today happens on social commerce. So what if I'm on Instagram or TikTok and I come across a product I wanted to buy, and it doesn't matter whether it's firsthand or secondhand. So that's where Solaire comes in. So we've built what we call a headless marketplace in a wallet. So we've built a marketplace specifically for physical digital products or connected products, physical first, using NFT as a tool to facilitate authentication and ownership, and giving customers the tools in their wallet to be able to auction or resell their product directly anywhere, to anyone. So really making social commerce for resale a reality.
Sheesh, Vivien. Like, man. So this is why I love talking to founders, because they're on it. And Vivien, like, very clearly, you deeply understand this market. And just want to back up and kind of bring us to a 10,000-foot view here for, maybe folks in the audience who are at brands and hear this term of wallet is the new CRM, wallet is the new cookie. You're getting all this data. But can you break that down for us practically? Like, what data are you getting? What is it that brand marketers could leverage to create these commerce experiences in the conversations that you're having?
Absolutely. So again, going back to my roots in luxury retail, a big problem for luxury sector is not knowing who their customers are. On paper, you have this customer who's constantly buying, or a repeat customer who's constantly buying products from you. However, is the customer the end consumer? Maybe, particularly in luxury fashion or jewelry, there is a heavy chunk of men buying for women. But on paper, you only have the contact information of the men, but it's the women that are actually making the decisions. So how do you know who they are and be able to engage them or market to them? So that's where blockchain comes in handy. When a customer purchases an item from you, now you will be able to track and trace the the history of the product and identify a customer using their wallet, because they need to hold ownership of the product. And with that, you know exactly if your customer is a gift giver, is a personal shopper, is a general reseller. And if you can identify a customer as a real customer, now the wallet becomes the perfect vehicle for CRM for marketing. Traditional marketing is heavily reliant on email. And we've all had that spam email that you give to all brands that you sign up with. And whatever the brand is sending to you goes into that inbox that may or may not be opened. But now in the era of wallet as a CRM with NFT as marketing, now brands will be able to send you the right marketing message in the right context at the right time in the most relevant way. For example, you just bought a bag, and then in that bag's NFT, you are getting the most relevant information that you care about that actually is relevant to the bag. Say, we just launched this pair of shoes that matches your bag. Or maybe your bag comes in a new colorway that you might be interested in. Here's the early access link. And it's sitting there in the NFT waiting for the customer to open at the right time when he or she is ready. And even better, now because of customers, because of resale, now as a secondary customer, I will also be able to enjoy the same level of engagement directly with the brand, because the brands now have not just the first customer's email, but a wallet address of all subsequent owners. So with that, wallet becomes a really powerful CRM tool for both brands and consumers.
So when you break it down that way, it feels obvious, like this is something that brands should leverage. What stops brands from actually implementing what you just described?
Very good question. I think it all comes down to chicken or egg, or in a easier term, demand or supply. It is a marketplace, an open marketplace after all. I am a firm believer that for a company like us, or for any company that are trying to solve the chicken or egg problem, demand should come in handy. So when you prioritize demand, when you have the user's attention, when you have a long wait list of customers wanting to use your product, supply will come. Same thing, because I've been working with brands for a long time. It's very easy or difficult to sell an idea, something that makes a lot of sense on paper, to a brand, but they're not going to action anything until they can see clear ROI. If you can tell them that your customers are there waiting for you, this is the number of revenues or data that you will be able to generate from adopting this technology, then it becomes much easier for them to buy into your idea and be able to try it with you. And the key to doing that, to prioritize demand, is user experience, which we can touch upon that in a minute.
I mean, you can touch upon it right now if you want to.
Yeah, so coming from, I think my journey is a little different from a lot of the other Web3 founders, is that I came from purely Web2. It's all about how do we drive real return and revenue for brands. And that really leaves us to how do we create more demand from the consumers. And user experience comes in first. So unlike many other sort of our peers that are focusing on building the coolest technology, we're actually in a place to make our product look dumb, because it's so easy to use that even our grandparents can use it. And that's the only way to drive mass market adoption. For consumers, their main drive is to own a piece of that product, is to be able to enjoy it both in real life and in the digital realm. So they don't need to go through 5 other steps in order to acquire that, even though it's super cool. For them, we've built out a simple one-click tool where all consumers, whether you know this is Web3 or not, will be able to own the NFT ownership of the physical product and be able to resell it easily from their wallet. And we've also mimicked the current Web2 resale experience, so then there's zero learning curve. It's as easy as reselling something on eBay, Craigslist, or Facebook Marketplace.
So just to slightly switch gears, but build off that last point you said, I want to talk about some of the behavior that's actually happening on chain right now. Based off of Circle's most recent report from Q4 of last year, they did over 600 million of transactions online with USDC. I personally find that significant because USDC, not necessarily a speculative asset, right? The core use case is everyday transactions. You're seeing more and more merchants accept USDC as a payments option. We heard earlier today about Farcaster Frames, mini economies being built on top of Farcaster, headless marketplaces. To transition this back to you, Vivien, why build a protocol? And what are some of the net new behaviors that you are looking to enable, not only for brands, but specifically for individuals and creators?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that kills me with sort of the Web 2 way of reselling product is that I don't have ownership. So even though I bought a piece of, a bag, I know that my bag is real, or it comes with a paper certificate, but it doesn't really give me true ownership that I can prove to anyone that my bag is real. So now with a resale protocol that's on a protocol level, that empowered by a blockchain, which is interoperable, I will be able to take my ownership and my ownership of authenticity anywhere, to any marketplaces, to any social media, to any group chat, and be able to transact right there. Meaning empowering every single individual to be their own marketplace, run their own marketplace, be their own authenticator, and be able to transact directly with anyone, anywhere, anytime.
So can you take that one step further? I love the culture of showing and not telling. Can you talk a little bit about one of the activations that you're currently doing on Solaire, on this protocol that she just mentioned, and share also a little bit more about your roadmap as well?
Absolutely. So action is louder than 1,000 words. So we're actually running a live 24-hour auction. We partnered with a company called Perks. They work with NBA stars, celebrities to authenticate their autographed collectibles, and they attach different perks and content and behind the scenes and privileges along with the autograph. So we've enabled them to now run the individual auctions directly from their wallet. This is actually from a Perks official wallet. There will be another one coming directly from the NBA star Malik's wallet, where they're auctioning to their fans. And you can find the auction anywhere on social media. It's on LinkedIn, it's on X, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok. Really extending the network of your marketplace so that you're not going to a single destination. And then anybody will be able to participate in that auction directly from their wallets. So when the transaction, if you win the wallet, you will get a notification in your email and your market notifying you of winning the auction. And then your credit card, making it super easy, you pay with credit card, your credit card will be charged in. And from there, you will be able to enjoy all of the perks through the NFT along with the physical product. And if you see this as an investment or as a gift or as a personal collectible, you can easily gift it or resell it very easily from your wallet. And you can experiment the same thing. Take your resale link, and you can go to anywhere that you think that the most Malik fans will be, or the NBA stars fans will be, and be able to capture the highest return on your investment.
So to summarize, Vivien said, get out your phone, scan the QR code, bid on this now. But no, in all seriousness, really powerful in some of the portability and interoperability you just shared. As we close here, can you share with us, A, what you're most excited about on your roadmap, and then B, we're at a conference, people love predictions. Where do you see this market going in the future?
Good question. So we want to be the infrastructure providing this new way of reselling or social reselling. So we are enabling the individuals, the celebrities, the owners to be able to resell anytime, anywhere. We're also powering some of the soon up-and-coming physical digital marketplaces that will be running physical-led, physical digital or phygital experiences and products. So our focus now is really on the consumer end going forward, because I realized, like I shared earlier, without consumers, there's no marketplace. So we actually just onboarded a CMO to really get this new way of reselling out there. We're working with influencers, we're working with a number of well-known brands across multiple categories, from sports, entertainment, collectibles, to streetwear, to luxury fashion, to art, to really lead by example of how this can be done and how to do it well.
Folks, thank you. Round of applause for Vivien. Thank you all.